to another praise session, and I just hope that we all enjoy ourselves in Yahushua's presence tonight.
sure we can really feel your presence here tonight. We don't have to invite you, you're here already, and it's just so wonderful, so lovely to be amongst your family, brothers and sisters, and to share your love amongst us. We just know Yahuah, we want to praise you, we want to worship you, we want to give you all the praise tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Hallelujah.
Testing, testing.
That's better.
just so beautiful.
These are the days of Elijah, listening to Yahuah's word. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And all these are days of great trials, of famine and darkness and war. So we are the voice in the desert, crying, prepare for the Yahushua's return. Behold, we come, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, as the trumpet calls, is your voice. Hear us jubilee, out of Zion, our bride will come. These are the days of Ezekiel, the tribe of becoming has changed. And these are the days of your servant David, building the temple of praise. And all these are days of the harvest, the fields are refining all love. So we are the laborers in your vineyard, preparing every side. Behold, we come, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, as the trumpet calls, is my voice. Hear us jubilee, down in Zion till our bride will come. Behold, we come, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, as the trumpet calls, is your voice. Hear us jubilee, down in Zion till our bride will come. There's no one like Yahushua. 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 There's no one like
Oh, Yahushua, we're waiting for that day for you to come in the clouds. That's our great expectancy, Yahushua. We love you so much. We don't care what we have to go through here because we know that there's a special place, a place that we can finally call home. You bring us home to yourself. We've never fitted in this earth, Father. Been kicked around from place to place, and we thank you that you've found us and you've wrapped your loving arms around us and you're calling us home. And we want to strive with all our might to be found worthy to go to this amazing home that you're building. Hallelujah.
Set me apart, give me a new heart, filled with compassion to calling out your name. Dwell in your house forevermore.
Dwell in your house forevermore.
Yahushua, we love you so much and we just want to praise you all the time.
We're continuing on in the book of Acts tonight, and a great fear has come over the early assembly. Remember our last couple of chapters of Acts? Ananias and Sapphira. This is the beginning of the movement, and they've had their first big judgment in the assembly. Luke's record of Acts shows us the beginning of the spirit-filled behaviour revolution. This was a behaviour revolution that happened. And while Peter and John seem to be getting the most mention, through thousands being delivered, healings, temple riots, prison breaks, amazing speeches, we've also just witnessed the first divine judgment in this new revolution, where Yahuah shows, just as he did in the wilderness, that he ain't playing around when it comes to impurity and sin. Especially being so close to his perfect divine presence. So now we come fresh off a wave of gripping fear that's rolling over the nation because of Ananias and Sapphira's deaths. People are really checking themselves, some standing at a distance, away from Yahushua, hiding in the darkness, but many more are drawing closer and receiving deliverance and forgiveness from their sins and bondage, joining the set-apart community of believers. So it's good when we go through Acts to realise there's a big similarity, because I don't know anybody else that uses the name Yahushua that's talking the way we talk. Like, this is a revolution. That's why we called it a behaviour revolution, because so we can associate that with Acts. I don't know if you've ever thought that. When the Spirit hit them in that upper room, their behaviours just changed. They were empowered to do something. It was a full-on revolution. That's why, and this is just the beginning, they're going to go before kings and council and priests and get thrown in jail and everything. Remember, the fellowship were now living and meeting house to house, eating together as a close-knit family. And no one was in need, for everyone looked out for each other in love. Young and old alike, orphans and widows. That's going to mean something in a moment. Truly, this was a behaviour revolution, for no one had ever seen anything like this before. So let's get into Acts chapter 6. We've just had Ananias and Sapphira killed, and then they were doing a whole lot of preaching again, thrown in prison, came out again, and then this happens. They're living house to house. A lot of people, who wants to read? Brandon, you read for me?
A lot of people were now becoming followers of Yahushua. But some of the ones who spoke Greek started to grumble about the ones who spoke Hebrew, saying that the Greek-speaking widows were not given their share of food when the supplies were handed out each day.
Makes sense. They were a bit older, maybe they couldn't get around when they were handing out the food. They felt like they were being, forgotten that word.
Ripped off.
When you're racially prejudiced against, because they weren't Hebrews, they were Greeks, but they were still believers in the assembly. How come we're getting our food and you're forgetting to feed us? So there's a bit of a tension happening.
Discrimination.
Discrimination, that was the word. And they're grumbling. That was the word. They're grumbling. So, Joe.
So Yahushua's 12 called the whole group of followers together and said, "It's not a good idea for us to leave Yahuah's word, studying and preaching, in order to serve at tables, dealing with the food and money. My friends, choose 7 men who are respected and wise and filled with Yahushua's spirit, and we'll put them in charge of organizing these things, so that no one will be left out. Then we can spend our time in prayer and continually serve Yahushua by studying and preaching."
That might sound like something really simple, but these 12 disciples, after Yahushua had gone, were in this huge confusion transition stage. They were in an old covenant with having to do what Moses said, got all these Pharisees doing it the wrong way, telling them what to do but not doing it. Yahushua comes along and sticks it to the Pharisees and then tells them a new and living way. It's all behaviour. So now they've got the task of taking all the scriptures with the Spirit in them. Imagine having been the first guys to do that. Read all the older scriptures that have come before and go, oh, I've got the Spirit in me now, this is what it means. So they had their work cut out for them, you know. So they didn't want to be going and serving tables and dealing with food and money, because they had much bigger things to do, you know. So he says, elect some people to do it for us. Mikey?
This suggestion pleased everyone, and they began by choosing Stephen. He had great belief and was filled with the set-apart spirit. Then they chose Philip, Prochorus, Nicanor, Timon, Parmenas, and also Nicholas, who had worshipped with the Jewish people in Antioch. These men were brought to the 12 who prayed and placed their hands on the men to show that they had been chosen to do this work.
Robert?
And Yahushua's message spread, and many more people in Jerusalem became followers. Even a large number of priests put their trust in Yahushua.
That's how powerful it was. Even a large number of the priests put their belief in Yahushua, their trust. So that's the scripture for tonight, because the last half of this chapter and the next chapter deals with Stephen, who Micah just mentioned. What happens to him? He gets all full on, and we're going to deal with that next week. The book of Numbers, just going back to this whole idea that they were grumbling, the book of Numbers records what a terrible sin grumbling, murmuring and complaining is in the ears of Yahuah. He absolutely hates it. Grumbling, murmuring, talking to yourself, grumbling, murmuring, complaining. He hates it, absolutely hates it. In the wilderness, Yeshua grumbled about the food, grumbled about the way, about the giants, about the manna, the desert, their leaders, and then about the divine judgments that came on them for all the former things they were grumbling about. And now that same ungrateful, wrong behaviour was creeping into the early assembly. If it creeps into our assembly, we should know it creeps into us. How does Yahushua feel about it?
Hates it.
He hates it. Let's see, it's not too hard this one in the Hebrew. The search results for grumble, rebel. Did you know that to grumble means you're rebelling? Rebelling from the way Yahushua's told you to behave.
When you're going against the word.
You're going against the word, exactly. You're living against the word. Murmuring. So I don't think I mentioned it, but complaining is something you do outward to someone else. Murmuring is something you do to yourself. In the privacy of murmuring under your breath, talking to yourself. Yeah, that's murmuring, muttering. You're actually talking to a demon, really. You're having a conversation with a demon. Are we allowed to talk to demons? Twisted, stubbornness. That's what it means to grumble. Twisted.
And
Complain. Twisted stubbornness.
that's a hard one to beat.
Complain.
Complaining.
Tell me. King of it. Yeah. And then you've just got the English meaning over there with the little dinosaur. To growl, mutter, rumble, murmur, grouch. scratching around the house. Moan, to gripe. Complain, grouse, to roll. That's just in the English. Just to give you understanding of the word grumble, you just read past it. And they're grumbling, oh big whoop. What were they doing in the midst of this huge revival, revolution? They're grumbling just because they didn't get fed on time or whatever. They could have just said, excuse me, we didn't get any. But no, they made a little case about it and complained and, you know. Paul said, do not grumble. There are those who grumble and complain in their ego. It's actually what it's a sign of, ego. And then there are those who are willing to serve others by dying to the flesh. That's the second word we're going to look at. Remember last week we looked at bitter or sweet. This week we're doing grumble or serve. Which one are you going to do? Because they're pretty much polar opposites. And of course we're getting this from the scripture up here. See how they were grumbling at the top, and then these guys wanted to serve. We don't want to lay tables because we want to serve them in the word. You find people who can serve at tables, yeah? So they needed to find some servant type people that could serve, because the disciples were serving in a completely different way. So this is where the serve came in. If you'd like to read that, Pina, what it means to serve.
To treat a person well, to benefit, to ripen of hard work, to bestow on, to deal bountifully, to do good, to reward, to attain, to find or acquire, to occur, to meet or to be here, present in the moment.
To be here, present in the moment.
To deliver, to light up on, to meet with, to be in bondage, to be a bondsman.
This is in a good way. Being bondage. Yeah.
Bond serves, compel, to dress, ear, pierce in love, to wait upon, to serve tables.
See where this is coming in? To serve. That's what it means. See how opposite it is to be grumbling in yourself, thinking about yourself, talking to yourself, everything about yourself, your ego, yourself. But to serve is to think of others. You ripen. You ripen, you mature. So, Hunter.
Anyone who wants to serve must be Yahuah, fair and respectful, not wise, not giving too much wine, not greedy or lovers of money, holding to the secret of the belief with a clean conscience, and let them be tested first before they serve, to see if their behavior will stand. Their wives, in the same way, should be respectful, not false accusers. Who is to serve must
Sober and trustworthy.
Who
Next line up.
Next
sober
one.
and trustworthy in every way. Anyone who is to serve must be the husband of only one wife, ruling his children and his own household. But for those who serve, generally will get a good reputation for themselves, and will have much boldness in the belief that's in Messiah Yahushua.
That's a wonderful thing.
Definitely. This is what you have to do to serve. I mean, we're all called to serve. I think it says that later on. We're all called to serve in some capacity, and we'll see why in a second. But you can't just go in there and you've got to be trained, haven't you?
Yep.
You've got to prove yourself, it says up here. Tested first before they serve. These are the qualifications required to serve Yahushua in the fellowship. They haven't changed. And everyone in covenant is now required to serve in the temple as the new priests. So bringing the priests in, because we're the new priests. Where's the temple?
Yes.
So we're talking about the fellowship, the community of believers, but the temple is also us. So this doesn't just stop when you go home from the fellowship, does it? It's going, all constant. in the body, your body. Brandon.
So I call upon you, brothers, through the compassion of Yahuah, to present your bodies as living sacrifices, set apart and well-pleasing to Yahuah, which is your reasonable service, worship.
I love the word reasonable. It's reasonable. Not over the top, not excellent, not really extensive or hard, laborious. It's just reasonable. That's just acceptable. Like, that's the standard. Like, you can go way beyond it, but that's just what's acceptable. This is your reasonable service. It's reasonable, not unreasonable. So are we going to grumble or are we going to serve? When we look at grumble and the opposite behaviour of serving, we see that our bodies are now the temple, the table we worship and serve at as new covenant priests. We serve Yahushua and others through daily behaviours of obedience to Yahushua's word in any given situation. That's what we're called to do as priests with Yahushua's Spirit in us. Our worship is 24/7 from this temple by responding to the word. Daily behaviours of obedience to Yahushua's word in any given situation, being loyal and trustworthy of the covenant we've made with our bridegroom. This was the foundational behaviour of the new Spirit-filled revolution, and it's the standard for revival today. By never getting tired of doing good works, we will ripen and mature into Yahushua, hearing his voice from the throne through a divine portal. And in belief, we serve at the tables of our hearts, being present in the moment, listening and doing, flowing with the gentle wind of his Spirit. Understand all this? It's you personally, you and Yahushua. We have to do this. Our flesh is daily being burnt up as a living sacrifice, leaving no voice for complaint or grumbling, no bitterness about the past, about where we've come from or what we've had to endure, but insatiably hungry for those juicy drops of sweetness that only Yahushua's loving favour brings. See how it all ties in? It all ties in together from our last message about where you want to be bitter, negative, sweet in Yahushua's love. How many thoughts does he give us? And now we see if you start to get something under your skin and you're crying or grumbling, what should you do with it? If it's a simple issue with another human being, address it, deal with it. But to go over it and grumbling and complaining, Yahushua hates it. You're stepping out of his favour. That's the sweetness. That's it. Next chapter we'll read about Stephen, who was experiencing all this. And he offered up his life to Yahushua, literally, as a living sacrifice. So that's the message tonight, guys. Tying in from last week about the bitterness and sweetness into grumbling. Very simple. How does Yahushua feel about our grumbling?
He doesn't like it.
He's given us things to do in our life. Daily routines, daily chores, hasn't he? Listening to this. How does he feel about complaining? Grumbling?
Angry.
Angry? Hates it. Are you going to feel good if you do that? If you get really clever, maybe you just think it to yourself. But can Yahushua hear your thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't get away with anything. You can't trick him. So, yeah. Would anybody like to add anything tonight?
If you grumble to yourself, you're just grumbling to Yahushua.
You are grumbling to Yahushua. Yeah. He's inside you. So who are you grumbling to?
Yahushua.
Yeah. Do you do that? How does he feel about that?
He hates it.
That would explain some of your behaviours, wouldn't it? this might show you all a thing or two. I'd like to start, and you may not be every session, but I want to start a little segment at the end of each meeting. It's only 10 minutes or so, to show you what's going on in the world every week. Yeah? So you can see that you really have nothing to grumble about in Yahushua.
Several thousand people were evacuated in the southwest of France due to a large forest fire. Dust storm hits Omani state of 𝗏𝕗𝕗. Myanmar. 𝗵𝗏𝗃, severe flooding under the influence of Storm Mulan. Evacuation of 𝗪𝗪𝗔𝕚𝕐𝕙 due to forest fire. Spain. Heavy rains caused damage to the areas of La Jaguara, Caracas, Venezuela. Hail and strong winds Aveyron, France. Severe flooding in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico.
¿Dónde venían esos carros, pues? Viene con los intermitentes prendidos.
Waterspout off the coast of 𝗪𝗟𝗄, ℚ𝗏𝗄𝗃 region, Greece. Kabul said 10 people have died in floods in 7 provinces of Afghanistan. Several people went missing, hundreds of houses were destroyed. Strong storm in Medina, Saudi Arabia. A dust storm swept over the city of Dubai in the UAE, aerial view. Floods and mudslides destroy homes in China. Forest fires in the municipality of 𝗂𝗎𝗓, Spain. Baluchis affected by monsoon rains in Pakistan. Flash flooding in Kanawha and Fayette counties in West Virginia destroyed 2 bridges, uprooted trees. Rakes cars and floods houses. Forest fire in the Rostov region. More than 60 people were evacuated from the village of 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗏, Rostov region, due to a fire. Forest fires in the 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗏 Natural Park. Large city in Cavagnolo in the Piedmont region, in the province of Turin, Italy. Odisha. Floods in the Junagadh quarter of Karakhandi district due to the turbulent flow of the Hathi River due to incessant rains. Tornado in North Dakota, USA. A severe storm and hail hit Rio Pardo in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. all that remains of the river Doubs in southeastern France. Consequences of a heavy downpour in Odessa, Ukraine. Impressive footage of the storm in Paris a few minutes ago. The Eiffel Tower station showed a speed of 104 km per hour. The storm also caused flooding. France. Waterspout near Destin, USA, Florida. A flash flood on a mountain river in the city of 𝗪𝗏, Pakistan. A very difficult situation with a fire in Pego, province of Alicante. The fire is approaching the city. Spain. Sandstorm in 𝗪𝗡𝗃, Pakistan. Flooding after rain on the streets of Santiago de los Caballeros, Dominican Republic. Eruption of the Sangay volcano, Ecuador. After a long drought and incredible heat, France was covered with hail and flooded. Dry soil is unable to absorb this amount of water. Up to 90 millimeters of rain fell in an hour. Montana. The Garzo fire near Paulson was estimated to be over 1,000 acres last night. Hailstones the size of a pigeon's egg covered 𝗵𝗂𝒃, Krasnodar territory, Russia. Tornado in the San Joaquin area, Paraguay. Flash flood in Upper Kohistan, Pakistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Terrible storm in Piombino, Livorno, Italy. 26 people died in fires in northern Algeria. Forest fires continue in 𝗪�la𝗏 region of Azerbaijan. Incredible happened in Africa today. Snowfall in Harrismith in South Africa.
People say Africa doesn't get snow. Yeah, our snow in
5 dead and a dozen injured, a storm in Corsica, France.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Heavy wind blows the roof off a building in Kranj, Slovenia. A tornado in the village of 𝗪𝗡𝗎 in the Ch06 region of Crimea. The worst drought in 60 years on the Jiaoling River near the Qiangzemin Bridge in Chongqing. The eastern provinces were overwhelmed by an abnormal heat wave with temperatures of 38 to 45 degrees Celsius in 2 months. As a result, many water bodies have dried up. China. Now Italy is hit by a violent storm. Images from the city of Marina di Carrara. This is how the dry Yangtze River in the Zhejiang region of China looks like now. China. Fire in Palermo, Italy, Sicily. New amusement park in Menorca after heavy rain and storm. Spain.
In Myanmar, Sudan, Russia, Belarus, Nicaragua, Poland, and Uganda, people have recently taken to the streets to demand democracy, even at the risk of being arrested or shot. Today's challenges are big: the climate crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, poverty and inequality, racial injustice, the threats from modern technology.
An average February day quickly turned to chaos when a small asteroid broke apart over the city. And when we say small asteroid, we mean the size of a 6-story building. One of those chunks, a rock aptly named the 𝗹𝕐𝕙𝕒𝕧𝕚 meteor, came careening down to Earth with unimaginable power. It's easy to see why many ancient people deified meteors and asteroids. Imagine looking up and seeing this massive bright light in the sky that isn't the sun. A mounted camera captures the moment when a meteor enters the atmosphere over Idaho and illuminates the night sky. When slowed down, we can see the bright white tail coming off the back. Finally, the meteor releases a flash of light as bright as the sun once it gets close enough.
I was having a lot of fatigue and body aches. I just thought it was exhaustion from traveling. But the next morning, I woke up with rashes all over my hands. The lesions started spreading to the more usual suspect areas. So that really made the doctors sort of confirm that what I had was monkeypox.
It's called monkeypox because it was first detected in research monkeys and because it's closely related to smallpox. With the outbreak that began in 2022, the lesions appeared differently. They can be localized more on the genitals and even appear more like bumps, something that not all medical professionals are trained to identify.
Even when I went into urgent care, they told me that this was definitely not monkeypox because the way that monkeypox had been appearing in photos that they've received were larger lesions, umbilicated, so kind of like donut shaped, all throughout the body, and I just didn't have any of that at the time.
So my name's Matt, I have monkeypox. This sucks and you don't want it.
All across social media, monkeypox patients are posting warnings. This is a painful, debilitating disease that you don't want to get.
I was in so much pain.
Right now, the vast majority of cases are in men who have sex with other men. It's rarely fatal, but activists in the gay community have mobilized. The maker of the vaccine says it will take months to expand its production capabilities, but experts say the window to contain a broader outbreak could already be closing.
The head of the World Food Program, David Beasley, visited Somalia last week, warning the humanitarian crisis is intensifying.
Climate change is impacting the entire world, and where I stand here in the Horn of Africa is absolutely no different. We're now looking at 20 million people marching to starvation here in the Horn of Africa. In fact, where I stand in Somalia, 7 million people And that's twice as many as it was just 6 months ago. Why? Conflict, extremist groups, coupled with the driest season that we have seen in decades. 4 or 5 rainy seasons have just disappeared.
Did you know that was going on? So we'll do one of these every week or two, because that's current. See why Yahushua's judging the earth? Oh, we can read Revelation, and he opened a seal, and water and fire and plagues, and it's happening. It's all happening around us.
Earthquake yesterday in Bali.
There you go. What do you think? Respond. Did you know this? I didn't know this till I watched all this.
No.
What do you think about the little safe bubble that you live in?
I definitely didn't think there would be a meteor.
I'm so much more grateful for it now.
Yeah.
There's never been a meteor.
That's how people without Yahushua, you're just exposed to anything. And whose fault is it?
This.
I hope that gives you some appreciation for the way, the lifestyle that's been provided for you. For the kids that had no food. See why Yahushua's judging? The judgment starts in the assembly first, and he's moved on. He hasn't stopped with us, but look how he's treating them. So, all right. That's it.
I thought it was very interesting in the scripture you had about,
is that too much?
No, that's all right. The scripture you had in, what was it?
Qualifications for
Numbers.
No. Yahushua told me on the way up to share something with you all, and then I thought, okay, and then when you put the scripture up about, what was it? When you first, can you get it up?
Yeah, yeah.
When you first started it.
There was the one about waiting tables.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
About
choose 12 men who are trustworthy to wait tables. So we can
that was really good what you said about the body and waiting on tables. It's your body.
Yeah.
But they were called out to wait on tables, weren't they? So, what were they called out to do?
Serve.
To serve. Help.
Well, to do what with the word?
Oh, they were called away to study and to...
Yeah, they needed to be replaced so they could put the old and the new together.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you guys have been through the temple worship, through the understanding of the temples and the tabernacle. Been through that. In the mornings, you're going through the Gospels, and you're seeing what Yahushua did when he was here, and we're doing the Acts on
Tuesday nights.
Tonight, right? And we also are doing
Revelation.
Genesis on Sunday.
Revelation Saturday.
Revelation on Shabbat.
Yeah.
So, I want to tell you something about your dad. Now, whenever he gets confronted with something, he, let's say, whenever he gets confronted, he's got so much on his plate, you know, like all the meetings and the sermons and getting everything ready, and now he's starting to get relieved from it. But when he gets confronted with something, he gets overwhelmed and he says, I really can't distinguish the voice of Yahuah talking to me. I don't know where this is all leading. I can't understand where this is all leading. So I'm going to ask you guys to help Dad with something here. What do the temple and the tabernacle mean to us today?
It's a place that...
Can you come down?
Big voice, mate.
It's the place that Yahuah dwells, and we have to have it there so we can have Yahuah.
What does the temple and the tabernacle become? Did you say us? Yeah. Our body. Right? So there's the secrets of the tabernacle and the temple that's become our body. And what's happened in our body? This is just doing a summary of all your teaching. Of everything you've been through. This is just a summary. Does anyone feel like Daddy? You don't really know what this is all for. You don't know where you're going by doing this?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, by the end of this talk, you're going to completely understand it. So, he put in centuries ago, he put the temple and tabernacle up, and then he said, that's no good, your body's now the temple. That's where I come in, as you said, and you know, from there I operate from within you, right? Now, this is a fellowship. It wasn't before, was it?
No.
So it's become a fellowship meeting. Peter's taken a new step. How do you feel about having a little, what's his name? Aaron with you?
Mouthpiece, wonderful.
How do you feel about that?
It's one that's a relief.
You are? You didn't think so at first, did you?
No, it was an extra responsibility at first, but now I can see she's flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's Yahuah given her?
A gift.
Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So, how did you get to become a fellowship to help Dad? Do you all accept that you are a fellowship? Yeah. Yes? Okay. We better start protecting it, what you all are. So how did you get to become a fellowship?
We all started changing our behaviour.
What did you do before that?
We got immersed.
Eh?
We got immersed.
That's right.
Because we believed.
And why did you get immersed? Because you believed? Because you
Heard his voice. You were called by him.
So each and every one of you heard his voice and went in the water at your own time. Not everyone did it all at once. And then, what's he poured on you since then? You're helping Dad, remember?
His spirit. He's
Yes.
amongst us.
Yes. He's also given you
Understanding.
gifts, hasn't he? And those gifts are meant to
Help us.
grow. Now when you look at the Acts, What's happened to the guys since they got the flames on their heads?
They've been able to heal people and have been able to hear Yahushua's voice. And
what are the practical things they did? Ananias and Sapphira got killed for it, for lying about it. But what was the aim of what they were doing?
They were bringing believers in and giving up all their stuff for Yahushua.
And everyone was?
Sharing.
Yeah. So, you know how Mark always talks about the pattern and the plan? So we want to help him see what the pattern is. And it's in the book of Acts, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think is happening to this fellowship? Have you all been judged by Yahushua?
Yes.
Got flogged and smacked?
Yes.
Okay. So he's in amongst you, isn't he?
Yes.
So you don't have to ever worry. He says, I'll never forsake you or leave you. We walk away, but he doesn't. So what's the direction to tell Dad?
You got to share.
Eh?
You got to share.
Yeah.
As in share the responsibility with everybody.
Yeah. Trusting and all that. Yeah.
We need to trust the Spirit and Yahushua and what He's going to do. When the time comes, the right thing will happen.
So he said, that's good. So he says, when the wind blows, I don't know if it's Yahushua or not. How can you help him with that?
You won't always know if it's Yahushua, go like...
Can't hear you, mate.
You don't know if it's Yahushua, but you go like...
Well, what are you reading? What's part of your plan? Why do you have to read the Word? We just had this lesson recently.
So Spirit, to feed the Spirit.
And if you don't feed the Spirit?
It dies.
Right. So, what does the scripture say? Arrest every
Thought.
Right.
Check it
So-
with Scripture.
Right. And it doesn't matter what scripture, does it? So long as it associates. And then you can see where you... Word of Yahuah is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Arrest every thought, check it, so you can see where you're going. Do you want to ask Mark a question?
Why haven't you been doing that?
What?
Yeah. Haven't been doing that.
Why?
Didn't want to.
Why?
Too many
He's
other
been
things.
confronted now. Just take it easy, it's all right. You know?
I didn't believe it like what's happening. I didn't know it like this. At all. So,
Yeah. So you
I'm
can
flabbergasted by all the daily changes.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to me.
Well, the kids aren't so much, they're just flowing, growing.
Yeah.
It's been a big change in the morning meetings, hasn't it? You know? Everyone's very different. So, Yahushua has called you all together, hasn't he? You are a Edge Hill Fellowship. Right? And you're in this area. What do you think Yahushua's going to do with you all? Give you the ability to play, gifts. To what? You got a song leader. To what?
To guide us. To guide us and to serve.
Praise him. You know, you can, when she says to clap, just clap. Doesn't matter if you're out of tune like I was, just clap. Make a joyful noise. Yeah? Because I didn't know the routine of that song. But you can clap whenever you want to. You can put your hands up, or you can stand up and praise. You can stand up, play the keyboards if you're feeling You know, feeling really good. Okay? So he's called you together to lay out a program for you, so you all grow in it. But you need the word in you to become what?
Strong.
Or
Mature.
powerful. Become powerful. Daddy needs some help, doesn't he? He has to see what this is all about. The plan's in.
It's happening.
The
Act.
plans in the acts.
Yeah.
So now that we've laid this out, what can you see from what you preached to now and going through this? What do you see?
There's going to be some sort of harvest. There's going to be people to look at the world and then look at what's happening in the acts. We're being trained for a reason. And when people come in the door eventually, with all the problems of the world on them, it'll be easy for us because we've been through it all. We've got the gifts and the strength to handle it, not take them personally, not judge them. You know, they come at us and think they're better than us and whatever. Yeah, it's cool. So be able to love properly.
Or you might even have some people coming here trying to take over everything and everyone and change it all.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Don't want to run it themselves. They say, oh, here's an opportunity for me to lift myself up in the community. So you have to protect all that. But can you see your direction now? What people actually have to go through? What they have to learn about their body and the temple? And then move on into the receiving the Spirit. And we go into the acts getting our act together. Acts getting our acts together. And coming forth with the gifts. And maybe some marvellous things Yahuah will do among us.
Amazing.
Teresa's asking the guys in the morning, but do you believe this? Do you believe this can happen? You know, she from all this stuff that's going on overseas, she was asking you guys the other day, are you feeling the urgency? And if you look at what's going on there and what Dad preached just recently about what's going on in the world, could you see why you guys weren't moved? You didn't sort of, oh yeah, that's going on overseas, that's not here. I'm in my bubble. You know what I mean? And Therese is sitting there pulling her hair out trying to get you guys to feel an urgency about it. Yeah? So what do you think now when you see all that's going on? That's this month. There's so much other stuff that's going on too. Wars and people fighting in streets.
There was even an earthquake when we were in Bali. How about that? While we were actually there was an earthquake. Volcanoes erupting here, there and everywhere. Everything's happening in the world. You guys are literally in a bubble watching whatever's on the hard drives. You don't ever go to the news and go, oh my goodness, is that really happening? Oh wow. Oh, how terrible is that? Look at the judgment. Anytime news comes on, I'll quick change that channel. Isn't it? Can't change it quick enough.
That's right.
You need to know this stuff. This is what gives you your urgency.
So now, Marky, can you see a direction? Can you see how to not freak out?
Yeah.
and say, I can't hear his voice.
Yeah.
Because?
That's a lie. Yeah.
And?
He's given us
the practical part of it, you can.
You can.
So,
yeah.
Can you hear his voice?
Yeah.
From?
Him.
Arrest every thought.
Every thought. Yeah.
And check it with Scripture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever Scripture comes up to the situation that you feel is right for, there's the light, you can see your way.
Okay.
You don't have to be floundering ever again if you grasp that simply.
Yeah, okay. That's a big help. Yeah.
So he told me this to talk about, you know, what you're called out for.
Yeah.
You're all learning the Scripture, aren't you? So obviously you can see you've been called. And he's giving you gifts and abilities and understandings. How do you actually feel about having this supernatural experience?
I've hated it. Because I didn't like the pain of it. I didn't have the information as to why I was going through what I was going through. But when you realise it's all your own fault, Yahuah can't be in anything that's unclean.
Can you go deeper?
Go deeper. Ask me a deep question. Put me on
Anyone
the
go deeper with this?
She can.
I'm leaving it for the children to go deeper.
Well, it doesn't look like they want to respond yet. Is that right? You got something you want to ask your dad? Can you see the direction through the axe?
Yeah.
So is there anything you want to ask your dad about? No? So you're here doing it. Yet
Haven't believed that I was doing it. Haven't believed that I was achieving anything. Listening to that hideous creature on my shoulder. Talking to Micah this morning on our bike ride about jealousy and him with the other younger ones and him always reacting to them, and he was doing it when we were riding with 𝗹𝕖𝕙𝒼 a big time, and he was doing it with him. He was on training wheels. Why would you judge him? Same with 𝗹𝕼. She comes shooting past and then cuts us off and then stacks it. You know, so it's like, and then after I talked with him, he just said, why don't you believe it then? Why don't you believe who you are like you are? You know, like, you can take a leaf out of your own. You know, like, we are doing it. This is the process. The disciples took years to get trained, you know, like, to be successful.
Well, 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years with him. Then they got the Spirit, and then they had to do it.
Yeah.
So you're all called out, put together, go ahead and do it, he says. Make more disciples. Then they go somewhere else and start doing it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a buy.
But you've got to believe what you're doing, and you've got to see the direction and know the direction.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, it's definitely, I've watched the way you've done it, and it's definitely to step back and give other people opportunities to grow.
Yeah, but once they come through, and you teach how to understand everything, it shouldn't take stacks of time.
No.
I mean, remember when the apostles were speaking, there were 5,000, then 3,000 immersed on the spot. Bang. Anything's possible if you just open up.
Amazing.
But you should never feel that you're coming here because you're told to. You should come here because you want. You want to be here, you know. Who feels that they're coming here because they're told to? Nobody. You're all here because you want to be here. All right, well, so what was the message tonight that you need to do?
You need to have urgency.
Eh?
She said you need to have urgency.
Urgency? Yeah, that's good. What was the scriptural instruction?
That we need to serve.
Yeah. And can you get that bit up again about how the temple is the body? What you said there, that was brilliant, I thought.
Where's it going, Joe? Yeah, so they're told not to grumble, and they're told to serve. And then it went into the qualifications. Everybody who serves must be these things. That wasn't to be leaders either, that was just to serve. The leaders one was above it, the paragraph above it, to be a leader. This was just to serve. It's qualifications for that. And then it came to the, I call you brothers through the compassion of Yahushua, to present your bodies as living sacrifices.
That's not the one.
Not the one?
No, it was that your temple was up further.
I might have written about it, I didn't have a scripture about it.
No, it wasn't a scripture, I think.
No, it's down here then. Here we go. No.
It was up the top, further.
Up the top.
Our bodies in that part there, that dark part.
Go up.
Go up a bit.
Go
No,
up.
go down.
Up,
all right, sorry.
In there, it says our bodies are now the temple table.
Yeah, temple table.
We worship and serve at.
So our bodies are the temple and table we now worship and serve at. That's really wonderful. I thought that hit me.
Yeah.
That was what gave me confirmation to present this.
Yeah, brilliant.
So how can you interpret that, you guys?
We have to, like, when we're praising Yahushua, we have to, like, we have Yahushua, like, in our hearts. So when we're praising him, he's there, and we know that he's there, and believe that he's there.
Yeah. Is that serving? See what it says? We see that our bodies are now the temple, table. Remember, they're all serving at tables. What does that mean? What were they doing? The apostles, they were serving at tables, and they got pulled away to study the Word and bring the Old Testament into the New, instead of serving at tables. What were they serving at tables? What does that mean?
Serving food.
Yeah.
For who?
They were widows, they were orphans, they were the whole community of people.
They were
Needed
being
help.
loving, kind, generous, patient, etc., 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 every other word that you can think of.
So they're
in
the
the exact image of Yahushua.
Yeah, there they are, being kind and generous and serving at tables, and they're the apostles. The greatest amongst men is?
The Son.
Yeah, the least. Yeah. The most humble. So there they are, serving at the tables, helping everybody, but they were told they have to go and study the Word and bring the Old Testament with Yahushua's teaching and make a New Testament out of it. And that's what they were doing after that. So a whole lot of other people came in, and then they started learning how to be kind and gentle and loving and real. So how can you interpret that into your home?
Same thing for everyone.
Is that happening in your home now?
Not really.
Well, how are you going to... Do you think that's what Yahuah wants? What's going on instead of it then?
The opposite.
What's the opposite?
Grumbling. Grumbling.
Grumbling.
Complaining.
What are you grumbling and complaining about? I know you know it's wrong from the study, so you know it's wrong tonight. So you can look back and say, well, that's what it was. I was grumbling. What's the main grumble? What's the main problem?
For me, it was not having time to do any of the work that I needed to because I was always cooking dinner.
Isn't Brandon coming in to help there now?
No, he's been at the salon lately.
Yeah.
We're still in the transition.
Oh, right. He said he loves cooking. Mark told me, and he was interested in taking over that job. All right, when things settle down and he can be there.
That would be a help.
So you work everything out so that you don't have to grumble. So if you're grumbling, that means you're dumb. Stupid. Can't get it together. Not very clever. Only dum-dums grumble. Don't they? Because if you're together, you know everything you do unto Yahuah, you get a reward for it. There's a little thing on your mantle in your new mansion in heaven. You don't grumble and you just get rewarded and happy. You don't get a reward here, but you know it's there. And it tells you to seek for rewards that are in heaven, not here. Get all little goodies to put on your shelf. You think I'm getting a goodie for telling you guys this tonight?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Definitely.
Let's see you go for the goodies. I want you all to have them. And there's lots of areas that you can go into that house and do and get goodies for free and feel wonderful instead of grumbling. So it's pretty dumb to grumble, isn't it? To be a grumbler, complainer. Don't you think that's dumb? It's not very together, is it? You know? Did you see something dead, Robert? Oh, you're just looking into the air, are you? Or you're looking at me?
Looking at you.
Oh, it's not a very nice look, was it? Okay?
Yeah, it's very encouraging.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see a huge change even in the house.
I mean you.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah.
You said to me, I can't hear when the wind blows. I don't know if it's Yahush's voice or not. I don't know where I'm going. I'm hoping those questions are answered.
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, I can see.
Or were they just things that you just put in the way? Or were they genuine questions?
Sometimes, yeah, times they were genuine. If you'd say something, they'd think, oh, that was brilliant.
Well, do you know that you should never ever falter with the amount of scripture that's in you? And you can, if anything's happening, you can just recall the scripture that sits into that situation, and the light will shine and you'll be able to see, oh, I can see. Lamp to your feet, light to your path.
Yeah, I haven't been properly doing the rules, I can see that. I'm taking everybody personally.
But what's the first rule?
Not facing the level of attack that's coming.
What's the first rule?
Don't
what?
Don't take it personal.
Anything.
Breaking it.
Don't take
anything personal.
Anything. Emphasis on anything.
Anything.
Don't take anything personal.
Yeah.
You're not taking this personal.
No, this is brilliant.
So why are you taking everything personal and instead of doing the rule? Why are you doing that instead of that?
Because I've been dumb. I've been thinking everybody's in a place, and then if they say something or do something, hang on. What
Like
did you do
you're
that
blaming
for?
other people.
Well,
I'm
I'm doing
asking
it.
you why you're not using the first rule. You tell us you take everything personal, and you're quite happy to do that. Yet you know it's wrong to take anything personal. But you go the opposite and say, and it's quite all right for you to be in that place. Instead of doing the right thing. Does that make sense to you, what you're doing?
No, it's stupid.
Why are you doing that?
In a really bad habit. Haven't believed it.
Well, what are you making if you use the rules in the conversation?
Excuse it.
Let's get right down to it. Why are you choosing not? Why are you choosing to go the opposite, taking everything personal instead of taking nothing personal? Why won't you go there inside yourself and don't take anything personal?
Didn't want to.
Why?
Because A, B, C, D, and E, they should all get it together. I had to.
It's
but
nothing to do with them, it's about you. You can't blame them.
If it's coming at you, it's about them. If it's coming at you, it's about someone else.
No, it's not. No, stop having your way. Well, I'm asking you why. If something's coming at you, what does the rule say to do about it?
Don't respond like that.
Not take it
personal.
And what do you do?
I take it personal.
Why? Why don't you do the opposite?
Well, I will.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But why haven't you?
Because I didn't know it like this. I didn't believe it. I convinced myself I was doing it in my arrogance.
Well, it's pretty easy to see you're not. If you're taking stuff personal.
It's pathetic.
It says don't do it.
Yeah.
And let people have it.
Yeah.
And don't make
excuses.
It's not their fault.
No.
You have to take that rule, and if Josiah comes at you with an attitude or something, you just got to love him and let him have it.
Yeah.
And then go into it. What's it about, Joe? What are you doing that for? Go in. Ask him.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
You can't lose with the 3 rules.
No.
You're using the 3 rules. You feel like Dad a bit. You don't believe they're true, they don't work.
I do believe they work, but I haven't been doing them.
And why is that?
Because I thought
You haven't been that self-controlled in your mind. Chosen.
Are you answering for him?
I thought of another one.
You don't even know how to do it yet.
No.
Because you haven't practiced it.
No, not at all.
You have to make up your mind inside yourself. I'm not going to take anything personal that comes at me. Nothing. So test him, Joe. Nothing. No matter who it's from, where it's from, Hunter, anyone. Don't take it personal. Win the battle.
Yeah, okay.
It's not hard.
No.
You just go instead of going letting it all in and going off.
Yeah.
Aren't you fed up with that feeling?
Totally.
That's what the 3 rules are for, to help you not go into that.
Yeah.
Now, don't come on with any suggestions while I'm talking, because you don't know how to do it yet.
No.
You haven't practiced it enough.
No.
So when you're versatile in it and you can do it good, I'll talk to you.
You've got to be well versed in it first.
Hey?
You've got to be well versed in it first.
Well, you've got to practice it.
That's
You've
right.
got to get everything right when you're serving.
That's right.
Yeah. And that behaviour is not serving. Yeah, wrong. Like Liza Minnelli said, wrong. Yeah, come on.
Because thought that if I do any of those things, it make me vulnerable to get attacked again.
Oh, I see. I understand. Well, if you do them, you're going to get attacked. If you don't do them, you're going to get attacked. But you stay stupid. You're not versed in the wisdom and knowledge of Yahuah and the experience. You're living a life in this world. All this meant so much to Victoria and me when we did all this and we're doing our life salons and everything. We thought, oh, but now we look back and we think, no, this is what it's all about. And then he blesses this. You see how I'm trying to get Dad to see his direction?
Yeah.
Do you know why he doesn't want to see his direction?
He doesn't want to face that he's wrong.
What do you guys think? Why Dad doesn't want to see his direction? He's teaching the acts, and the acts is showing you this is what Yahuah does. He calls people together and does this, and things happen. Can you have a reason why Dad doesn't want to do this? Why he can't see his way? Anyone?
He's too caught up with all the things he's got to do, and his mind's on all that all the time.
So how does that explain?
He's caught up in doing all the different meetings and organising and being producing and doing all the things he does, and his mind is there.
And in the middle of all that, he's got a routine, and if something happens, he can just go, scripture recall.
Yeah.
What are those people that have those computers and they say, Darius, what is blah, 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 blah?
Siri.
You just say, Siri, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You say, scripture for that situation.
Yeah, you can.
And immediately, Yahuah
Gives you
the wind blows.
Straight away. You get your answer and you'll be able to see, there it is over there, I've just got to go there and get there. That's it. He'll help you in everything. Why won't Dad do that? Go there. Is that a difficult question, Robert? Can you got an answer? Oh, it must be a difficult question then. You see anything?
Me?
Yeah. You?
He likes to be in control of everything.
Yes.
And the problem is Yahuah's in control of everything, not him.
Yeah.
So by him trying to control everything,
Yeah.
Yahuah's showing him, no, you're not in control, I am. So trust in me.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
So you don't have to worry about all this, you've got it all. Look what he's given you, all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's just giving you everything you want to do his work. So why wouldn't you?
You would.
He's giving you all
You'd be
this.
stupid not to.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just do the 3 rules? You'll kill it, mate.
Yeah, I can see that.
So how long has it taken since we've been talking about the 3 rules?
7 years.
You've been preaching on them, you've been writing them up, and you just didn't look at them.
Didn't know it like this. Not at all. Didn't know it like this at all. No. At all.
But it's always been the same.
Yeah, but you grow into it. You see when you see.
Well, it's pretty easy when you read, don't take anything personal. That means nothing. Can you do it?
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. You can all test me and find out. They will. I'll do it.
And you're going to let them have it?
Yeah.
You think you can do it? Do you think you can do it? About you, do you think you can do it? Well, you? You? Well, you're under a test, and Therese is going to be the one to, she's the adjudicator, and she's going to say, are you taking that personal? You can't say that to anybody else, you know why? Because this is how you use the rule. Am I taking this personal? Did you know it's like that? You talk to your spirit. Am I taking this personal? Am I letting that person have it? Am I making excuses for myself? That's how you look at the 3 rules, and they work. Not, I'll let you have that. That's not the way it works. You've got to look at yourself and say, am I letting them have it? That's how they work. Not, oh, you're taking that personal. No, you don't say that. You're wrong if you do that. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's always got to be to your... Why?
Because they're for you. They're for me. They're for yourself.
They're self-cleansing.
Mm.
It's a new wonder dishwashing liquid. Self-cleansing. That's what you do with them. They
You
cleanse
just got to push
you.
button 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Now, Therese is the adjudicator, okay?
Yeah.
And she's looking at your behaviour. She's allowed to say, are you doing that? Are you taking that personal? Are you letting him have it? Are you letting her have it?
Mm.
She's the only one in the house allowed to say that.
That's it. That's brilliant.
Not for, you know, to cause trouble or anything like that. It's just a help.
Mm.
And if you don't want to come under it, what do you say?
No. I'm not doing it. That's what I say.
And so what would you be if you didn't want to do it?
Disobedient.
Grumble, complain.
What's the thing that you're so adverse to be? Starts with a D. Remember that elephant with the big ears? What was it called? Right?
Don't do it,
You'd be dumb. If you don't do the 3 rules, you'd have to be dumb, wouldn't you? You say, oh, poo, that's not for me. Look where he's ended up because he's refused. 7 years he's been fighting it, not to do the 3 rules. Yet he goes along with it and he talks about it and he preaches it. He doesn't do it for him.
Reminds me of the Pharisees in the book
Yeah.
that we're reading.
Yeah.
Not practicing what he's preaching.
Well, if he does do that, what should you do? What rule should you use on him?
Just let him have it.
That's right. And what will happen?
He'll fall on his face.
That's right. And you'll see it. That's the best thing. Let people have it. You know?
Yeah.
You can let Robert have it in the mornings with his snot rag and he's picking his nose and his ears and eating them in public and doing all that.
Are you still doing that?
Yes. Every day. He shouldn't have a rag at all. Doesn't stop. He doesn't listen to you. Mark doesn't see it. Mark's too interested in what you're saying to watch him. And so he goes to town.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have a look.
Watching the whole time.
I haven't seen today's.
Oh.
Yesterday's. Yeah, he does it when you don't even, he's watching with his eyes like this. Acha.
Yes or no?
Well,
Did you do it
does,
today?
does anger work at him?
No, I'm asking, did you do it today? This morning? Yes or no?
I was watching the whole time today.
Did you do it this morning? Yes or no?
No. Well, all you have to do is watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow in the morning.
We'll see.
While I'm at home and I study.
Truth.
I study everyone's reactions.
It's all on video.
Look at Micah, I say. Look at Mikey. Victor. See how relaxed I am? What does that show you I feel about you all?
Love.
You don't have to whisper, Mark. I love you. So I don't care. You're going to take however long you're going to take. Just remember what Yahushua's doing out there. And if you're not prepared and ready and serving the way he wants you to, how did you feel tonight after all that?
I felt amazing. I still do.
Good on you.
Are you going to be here every Saturday night?
I'll try my very hardest to be here.
All you have to do is put your foot down and say, I'm somewhere to Dad, I've got to be there. Or you can say, I'll get them to drop me off after and I'll come over and see you after the meeting. How about that, Daddy?
Yeah. That works.
See, he wants you to serve without grumbling. We've all got situations in our life where he says, do what I want you to do, don't do what you want. And if you recognise it, life's a breeze, it's wonderful, it all works. If you don't want to recognise it and you want to fight, what happens?
Hardship.
Mark happens.
You're a bit slow then, I thought you'd be on it straight away.
Mark happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Well, he's made it hard for himself.
Yeah.
Just don't take anything personal.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter, can you get him to take something personal? Can you do something to him to make him take it personal?
Sorry, I kind of ate the lost the Warriors.
You what?
That won't worry him.
You what?
I ate the lost the Warriors.
Oh. Well, there you are. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Can you see where you go
I'm
now?
going for it. Yeah. Yeah, I can see you now.
Now, if I judge you, what am I going to get?
Yeah, not like me. You get judged. You don't allow that liberty in your mind.
Just got to know inside, no, I'm letting Mark have it. No, I'm not taking what he does personal.
Yeah.
All the excuses he makes, I'm not taking it personal.
Yeah.
I'm going to love him, and you just go there. And you go through it.
Yeah.
And you get good at suffering. You get good at enduring.
Yeah.
The hardest time when you're under pressure to speak out. Because if you're in a situation where Yahushua wants you to speak truth and you're under pressure,
yeah,
so many times you just want to shut up.
Yep.
You don't want to say anything. That's not serving, is it?
No.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That'll do.
We'll go there.
Won't hold you guys up anymore. It's a school night.
School night. Let's do it. Pack it all up.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, we've been on.
Yeah.
Oh.